Chapter 2. When Hollow woke up, Guts was sort of on top of them. Ze was still asleep. Hollow slowly moved themselves to the side, trying not to disturb Guts too much. Guts sighed, turning over and burying their face into the pillow. Hollow got up from their bed. There was a note lying on the dresser. They picked it up, glancing at the words on it. Dear Hollow. If I'm there when you wake up, please don't talk to me about this. Anyway, I want to tell you that I'm also dealing with a lot. I love you, I do, but I can't help but feel as if you would be better off without me. If you want to respond to this, write it on the back. Love, Guts. The note read. Hollow crumpled it up and threw it away. They had a hard time falling asleep last night. After thinking about everything, they had decided to text Guts. Hey, are you okay? Hollow wrote. They waited. They noticed Guts wake up after hearing the phone go off. Hollow soon got a response. I don't really want to talk about it RN, I'm scared to tell you, Guts messaged back. Really scared, Ze then messaged. Why Roo scared? Hollow responded. I feel like it'll make you feel worse. No, it's better if you talk to me a bit, Hollow texted. I can't, Guts replied. Hollow felt guilt stab through themselves. They could only imagine the amount of pain Guts must be going through, and they wished they could comfort Ze somehow. But they didn't. And it seemed like Guts didn't want them to. Hollow turned around to Guts, who was looking back at him. Guts quickly averted Ze's gaze. Hollow could see tears coming to Guts' eyes. Hollow felt bad. They wanted to say something. Anything. But they didn't know what to say. They weren't able to comfort Ze. Guts could barely look at Hollow. Ze was holding the blanket to Ze's face, trying not to cry. Hollow could hear Guts sniffle and try to quieten Ze breathing. Hollow wanted to say something, anything, but they couldn't find the words. Their heart ached at the sight of Guts crying. They wished that they didn't feel so worthless. Guts let out a choked sob. I can't. Guts whispered. It hurts so much. Guts sobbed harder. Hollow felt their heart break in two. They had no idea what to do. But they knew they needed to comfort Ze. But their body wouldn't move. When it finally did, Hollow ran towards Guts, tripping over, and fell on top of Guts. Almost. Guts had fallen off the bed before Hollow could get to Ze. Hollow had fallen on the empty bed. They then heard a sob. Quick breaths. Guts was hyperventilating. Hollow rushed themselves to get off the bed and help Guts off of the floor. Once Guts had gotten back on their feet, Hollow helped Ze lie back down on the bed. They held Ze tightly, stroking Ze's hair softly. Guts let out a small whimper before hiding Ze's face in Hollow's neck. Hollow. Guts whined. Hollow froze. What are we? Guts whispered. Guts lifted their head to look up at Hollow. We shouldn't be doing this. I should stop. Guts said weakly. Tears filled Guts' eyes again. Stop what? Hollow asked, slightly croaky after not speaking for weeks. I feel we're a little too close right now, Guts whispered, staring at Hollow intensely. But, you were hugging me just yesterday or whatever, Hollow replied. Guts looked confused. But then Ze remembered what Ze did. Why yeah. But that was because I hadn't seen you in weeks. You sort of disappeared, Guts muttered. And I thought maybe you were okay with that, or at least you liked being hugged by me. But I guess I wasn't quite clear enough. Or perhaps you wanted nothing to do with me anymore. I think it would be best if I left now. Guts whispered, pushing Hollow away gently. Guts, please. I don't want to be alone. Not again. Hollow begged. Guts looked up at Hollow. But Ze looks away, not wanting to hurt Hollow's feelings. Do you really even care? Ze shakes Ze's head. Sorry. This is about touch. It just feels really weird being so close to someone, especially you, and not in a bad way. But still, and then I thought that you felt uncomfortable, Guts whispered. Hollow shook their head. No. It feels sort of weird for me, as well, but not uncomfortable. It's sort of nice, having someone to spend time with. Please stay. Just a little longer. Hollow pleaded. Guts stared up at Hollow with sad blue eyes. Hollow could feel themselves starting to tear up. I sort of like being so close to someone like you. It feels safe. Hollow continued to whisper. Guts looked surprised. Hollow was blushing, hoping it wouldn't show in their face. Oh, well, Guts mumbled, looking back down. I am comfortable with it. It just feels so odd. I just thought that you were uncomfortable. But, as they say, it's not gay to kiss the homies. Guts admitted. I am comfortable. Hollow insisted. I promise. Hollow added. Guts smiled slightly. Okay. Just, Guts cleared his throat, standing up a little straighter. Give me a second. Guts pulled Hollow into a close hug. It felt so insane. But in all that weirdness, it felt just fine. Guts had buried his face into Hollow's neck, sobbing. Hollow knew it felt good, but they had no emotion. They felt nothing. The only thing they could pretend to care about was Guts, crying in their arms. I'm sorry I've made things weird, Guts muttered. Hollow shrugged. You haven't made things weird. You've never done that before. Hollow explained, hoping their voice would sound calm, reassuring. Guts hugged tighter, burrowing his face deeper into Hollow's neck. I'm sorry, Guts sobbed. For what? Hollow whispered. For making you feel worse. Guts looked up at Hollow, tears in their eyes. I'm sorry. For causing such a scene. Guts apologized. Hollow gave Guts a little kiss on the cheek, with them both being the same height. Guts went silent, kind of shocked. I'm sorry. Did you not want tea that? Hollow suddenly began apologizing. Guts didn't respond. Ze closed their eyes, and put their weight on Hollow, hugging them. Gee Guts. Are you okay? Hollow suddenly yelled. Guts didn't respond. Ze just nuzzled their head into Hollow's chest. It sort of hurt, because scars and cuts were peppered around Hollow's bare chest. Hollow panicked. Was Guts okay? Why had Guts suddenly gone limp? Had Ze died suddenly? Hollow tried shaking Guts, but that just made Guts cling onto them more. Wake up. Wake up. Hollow yelled. Nothing. Hollow panicked more. Guts started muttering something. Hollow tried to hear what it was, but couldn't. Guts. Please, Hollow whined. Guts hugged tighter onto Hollow, suddenly making them both fall to the floor. Guts was on top of Hollow, just hugging tightly. Hugging Hollow. Hollow felt their face heat up. Please wake up, Hollow breathed out shakily, feeling tears come to their eyes. Guts just sobbed harder. Hollow. Guts whispered. I'm sorry. Guts exclaimed. But, can we stay like this? Hollow felt their face heat up, the blood rushing to their cheeks. All right. Hollow mumbled. They tried to relax. Guts seemed to be relaxing too. Guts? Guts whispered. Do you mind if I? Maybe. How do I say this? Beep, boop. Hollow asked shyly. Guts nodded quickly. Why yeah. Hollow hugged Guts back, putting both of their hands on Guts' lower torso. Guts suddenly went a little red, and giggled innocently. Hollow finally felt comfortable. They moved their hands to under Guts' hoodie, but still keeping their hands on Guts' lower torso. Guts tensed up a little, but eventually relaxed, smiling at Hollow. Actually, it looked more like an evil grin, but it was cute. Guts leaned down closer to Hollow. Hollow's heartbeat quickened, and they could feel themselves getting warm again. Their heart pounded so loud that they swore it could probably be heard across the room. Their faces were inches apart now. They both leaned their heads together until their noses touched. Kinda gay. Guts chuckled. Ze put their arms around Hollow's shoulders. Guts put their head on Hollow's chest. Guts smiled up at Hollow. Is this all right? Guts asked quietly. Hollow nodded slowly. Guts sighed contently. Good. Guts whispered, pulling Hollow into a tight hug. Hollow felt their breath hitch. They were so close. Yuck. Guts' hair tickled the sides of their face. A few strands came loose from the knot it was wrapped in, and fell over Hollow's eyes. Guts took note of how weirdly curled they were. They also noticed how warm they were. Why were the hairs warm? Oh, right. Hair curlers. Guts snuggled closer towards Hollow. They were just on the floor. So strange. So stupid. But also, nice. They felt safe. I'm sorry about what happened. I didn't expect anything like this to happen. I thought I would just come over and make you some food. Guts whispered. A knot untied in Hollow's mind.